In this video, we're going to look at some of the built-in maths tools available in OneNote online. These tools are available via the Insert menu. We'll start by looking at what analysis you can do on different types of numbers. If you just enter a whole number, like for example 232, you can select that number and click Maths. You can select an action to do, and the one that I'm going to look at is the factorising option. And what this will do is it will split the number into its prime factors. So we can see that 232 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 29. There are a number of tools that will provide a prime factorisation for learners, but this is one that's available to all learners. We can also type in real numbers. So for example, 23.49. Again, select the number, click Maths, and we can now analyse the number 23.49. There are some rounding options. The round option itself will round to the nearest whole number. So this one's rounded to 23. You can also use the floor option to truncate the decimal part, and that would also give you 23. Or you can click ceiling, which will round up to the next whole number. We can also use OneNote as a calculator. So you can type in a calculation, for example, 2 plus 4 times 3. Now you'll notice I've used the star for times. If you use an X, it will interpret that as the variable X, and it will treat what you've typed in as an expression in X. But again, we can select the calculation and then select an action, and this one is going to be evaluate. And you'll notice that it has observed the correct order of operations, calculating 4 times 3 first and then adding 2. And those steps are there if you click Show Steps. There's an explanation as to why the answer is 14. And there's a good accessibility option here that you can use Immersive Reader. Click Play.
Solution steps. Multiply 4 and 3 to get 12. 2 plus 12. Add 2 and 12 to get 14. 14.
We can also use maths tools to analyse sets of numbers. So we'll just type in a set, for example, 2, 6, 3, 4 and 9, and we've separated them by commas. You can then select the data and click Maths, and again we've got the options to select an action. There's quite a lot of analysis you can do on these lists. The first one is you could sort the list, and it will do that into numerical order for you. There's quite a lot of statistical analysis you can do here. So you've got your 4th level averages. You can look at your mean, your median and your mode. So for example, with median, it will select the middle number. And again, we can click Show Steps, and that's just a little explanation as to how the median was calculated. In this case, it was an odd number of numbers in the list. So it explains how that median was found. There are some other options, some really useful options here. When we've got this list of numbers, we can find the least common multiple or the greatest common factor of the numbers in this list. And here we can have the least common multiple of these 5 numbers is 36. We can also work out the sum and the product of all these numbers. And then you've got some higher level statistical analysis there that National 5 or higher application students might be interested in, finding maximum and minimum values in a list and also finding the variance and the standard deviation. Finally, we're going to look at how the tools can manipulate expressions. So I'm going to type in the expression x cubed plus 3x the learners are probably quite used to using a keyboard to type in mathematical notation. So if I'm wanting to type x cubed, I'm going to use that up arrow for power that appears on quite a number of calculators. Now at this point you may notice that the text is auto-corrected to a capital X. You need to be careful of that because if you've got capital X's and lowercase x's, it's going to treat that as two different variables. So I'm going to use Control Z here just to undo that autocorrect, and now I've got a lowercase x. So x cubed plus 3x is the expression that I'm going to have a look at here. So again, select the expression, click Maths. And there's a number of actions that I can do here. The first one I'm going to look at is that we can actually factorise that expression. So learners at 4th level and above could use that to check some factorisations that they've done. We also have a built-in graphical calculator here, so we could graph the function y equals x cubed plus 3x. You'll notice it's just the expression that I've typed in, and this gives a graphical representation of that function. And for higher candidates as well, we can look at differentiation with respect to x. Now, it might be slightly unexpected that we've got a common factor of 3. We might have expected to see 3x squared plus 3. So it's just another illustration that they might have an equivalent answer to what they might have expected. It might not be identical. And we can also check their integration. And this might be helpful if, for example, they've forgotten to include the constant of integration. It is included there. We do have the show steps option. I'm just going to give you a little health warning on these, that when you're at this level of difficulty in maths, you might find that the explanation is not the way that you would have explained it. And this one is actually quite overcomplicated, I think. So just a little health warning for your learners. If they are using this, that the explanation might not be as clear as it is for simpler maths. So that's us having looked at a number of the maths tools that are embedded into OneNote online.